Spinning out of the wildly popular Harley Quinn show, we have Harley Quinn the Animated Series, the Eat Bang Kill Tour, issue number 1. Let's hop on in together and find out what the puritanical YouTube algorithm will ding me for first, either the overt queer content or the fact that kill is in the title, shall we? So then, as we join this brand new comic from T. Franklin, you may be surprised to find out that it takes place exactly where season 2 of the Harley Quinn show ended. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy had just declared their love for each other when they were ultimately forced to flee from the forces of Gordon in the GCPD. This high-speed chase just so happens to take place on a Harley's own highway, the first of what will be many great callbacks to the show itself. Though I would certainly argue if you picked up this book and you haven't watched the first 2 seasons of the TV show, what are you doing? You're missing something great. Though I suppose if you are one of those people, fret not, because Harley does try and offer up a Cliff Notes version of the first 2 seasons of the television show while beating on a bunch of the cops. We're reminded how Harley finally left the abusive Joker, started her own crew of misfit criminals. Gotham got destroyed and became its own weird Mad Max meets No Man's Land sort of place when all the superheroes got locked up. In another dimension, there was also a parademon invasion at one point. A lot has happened, let's just put it that way. But not just for Harley either, this issue actually does a really good job continuing the character development and journey that Gordon was on when the show ended. You'll recall that he had basically reinvented himself, quit drinking, and now he's on a crusade to arrest Harley, not just because of all the criminal acts she committed, but also because the president had told Jim that if he did, Gotham could rejoin the rest of America. Of course, Jim's very classic bad luck ends up kicking in when Ivy decides to use her amazing plant-based powers to give him and the rest of the GCPD the slip. They do save his life, though, because, even though they are still technically supervillains at the end of the day, they're not monsters. In fact, they've grown considerably since season 1. Now, while the first 2 seasons of the Harley show were built around will they or won't they between Harley and Ivy, now that they're officially together, Harley is filled with some doubts. Ivy seems distant, and Harley fears pressing the issue because, well, she doesn't want to mess up this relationship the same way she seemingly messed up every other relationship she's ever been in. This is all played out really cool too, as they once again revisit another gag from the show wherein Harley communicates with her inner psychologist. The duo decides to lay low at Harley's mall hideout, and we actually get to see a wing of this place that we've never actually seen in the show, Harley's bedroom, complete with a bunch of fun Easter eggs from the show. My favorite is the portrait of Frankie Muniz on the wall and a picture of the crew with Dr. Psycho cut out of it because, well, he betrayed Harley and the crew at the end of the last season. So yeah, assumedly with all their enemies vanquished and their love now confessed for each other, things are finally going to end up getting easy for Harley and Ivy, only that's not the case. You see, Tawny, the talking news show head that was featured in several episodes of the TV show, has been running non-stop coverage of Ivy's failed wedding to Kite Man. Now that's bad enough on its face, just having something so private and so personal broadcast for the entire world to see, but it actually gets worse. A bunch of Ivy's supervillain friends who she invited to the wedding got arrested, which means Ivy, empathetic soul that she is, starts to wonder if maybe she just should have gone ahead and married Kite Man. Oh sure, she would have been miserable settling, but honestly she feels miserable now thinking of all the people that her actions may very well have hurt, and she begins spiraling much like she does in the TV show. The big difference is that now Harley is here to actually pick her up and pep her up, and well, essentially they end up reconsummating their relationship in a very carnal fashion, and well, I can't actually show you any of that here on YouTube. I will, however, say this is without a doubt the most sexually charged DC book I've read in a very, very long time, as most of the major superhero companies choose to shy away from scenes of intimacy. Now that was certainly a lot of fun, but the harsh reality eventually begins to creep on in both Harley and Ivy that they can't stay at their mall hideout any longer. It's only going to be a matter of time before Gordon ends up kicking down their door. So Harley ends up coming up with a very clever idea, and that is if so many of their friends and allies are currently in jail, then they should probably go and try and stay at their houses. It's the last place the cops would think to look for them, and while they were there, they could feed their pets, tape their shows, water their plants, and, be good friendly villains. So yeah, it sounds like they got themselves another Thelma-and-Louise style road trip planned. Only, here's hoping this story ends with them not having to drive themselves off a cliff. And so that was Harley Quinn the Animated Series, the Eat Bang Kill Tour issue number 1, everybody. And the best compliment that I can give it is that it feels a lot like the TV show. Not exactly like the TV show, nothing quite feels like watching the TV show, but this is a close second. I'm actually quite surprised that this comic series ends up taking place so directly after the TV show. I mean, it's good and certainly makes it feel like required reading. I would just assume the show would want to cover this material in season 3. T. Franklin certainly does a good job capturing the character voices of Harley and Ivy. I was actually unfamiliar with her work until I picked up this series, but apparently she's done a lot of really interesting stuff, both self-published and with Image. Much like the show, the jokes are certainly there, but the thing that keeps you coming back time and time again is the character development and the dynamics between our two leads. We watched Harley fight so hard for 2 seasons of television for her and Ivy to finally have the chance to be together, and now that they are together, she fears this relationship falling apart. Ivy also continues to battle with self-worth and self-doubt, and I actually enjoy in this issue she invoked her father, which we saw in like 1 episode and never got referenced again until right now. Overall, I'd say if you're a fan of the show, then you're probably going to end up liking this, and if you haven't seen the show, maybe this will be the thing that ends up getting you in. Overall, I'd give it a very well-deserved 8 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.